The Canon R6 is an amazing camera, but with the R5 seemingly outperforming it in every way possible, is it worth spending the extra cash to pick up the R5, or should you stick with the R6? In today's video, we're going to cover some reasons why you should and why you shouldn't buy the R6. We're also going to take it out for a bit of a spin in the field and go on a little bit of a shoot, and we're also going to finally see who the R6 is built for. So first things first, the comparison between the R5 and the R6. Both are amazing cameras, but here's why I like the R6 just a little bit more. Better low light and better high ISO performance. Now, this might sound a little strange that the cheaper camera performs better in low light, but I guess it kind of leads me on to the next point, which is megapixel count. A higher megapixel camera will struggle more in low light than a lower megapixel count camera. We see this very easily with the Sony a7S III and the Sony a7R IV. The only reason that the Sony a7S III has such a low megapixel count is to help it in those low light situations, versus the a7R IV, which has a huge megapixel count and does nowhere near as good in low light conditions. So the R6 has a 20 megapixel sensor, which for some people might seem low, and while the R5 has a 45 megapixel sensor, it does way better in low light. And believe me, unless you're cropping in like crazy or you need that super fine detail, 20 megapixels is more than enough. And you don't have to deal with those huge file sizes that come along with the R5's raw images. Believe me, 45 megapixels is big. You also get greater battery life on the R6, about 40 more shots per charge. It's also just slightly lighter than the R5, coming in at 53 grams, lighter at 680 grams. And then of course we have price. The R6 is coming in at $24.99 USD, while the R5 is coming in at $38.99 USD. That's a huge jump. And believe me, you can use that extra cash to upgrade your lenses or spend more on your lenses, and that is going to yield a much better kind of upgrade or boost in image quality or video quality, whatever you're shooting, than the upgraded body would. So I guess those are the main technical specs between the R6 and the R5. And I know I probably shouldn't be reviewing the R6 against the R5, as they are fairly different cameras, and I might be better off reviewing it against the Sony a7R IV. In saying that though, I know no one who has a Sony a7R IV. I bet they are amazing cameras and I don't doubt their capability at all, but since I don't know anyone and I've personally never used it myself, well, I can't really review it, because while spec sheets are great to look at cameras, it also matters like how it feels in the hands, how it's weighted, how it works, what other little quirks and overheating issues and all that kind of stuff. That also makes a huge difference when you're buying a camera and when you're really trying to commit to something for the long term. So I didn't want to review this against the Sony a7R IV. I know they're probably a little bit of a better fit together though, the R6 versus the a7R IV. No, not the a7R IV, the a7 IV. Okay, there are too many Sony cameras, I swear. Okay, in saying all of this though, the R5 is still an amazing camera. It outperforms the R6 in every single point except for the ones we just went over. And don't get me wrong, the R5's video capabilities are incredibly good, like leaps and bounds ahead of the R6. In saying that though, I personally don't think I need them, and I'm pretty sure if you're just creating content for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, or just pretty basic client work, like nothing crazy, like you're not doing huge documentaries or whatever like that. 4K 60, 1080 120, you've got 4K 24, you've got 1080 24, you can shoot in 10-bit color profile, you can shoot with C-Log 3, I believe. These specs are more than enough, and they're gonna get you out of trouble 9 times out of 10. I know a lot of people that have the R5, hence why I'm reviewing it against the R6, and they all bought it for the 4K 120, yet they never use it because the file sizes are so damn big and their computers choke. So yeah, while it's great and it's kind of a cool feature to have, in reality, is it something you're really gonna use? It's probably worth thinking about. So we're down here in Uluwatu, and I thought I would bring the R6 down here and show you what it can actually do, instead of just sitting in a studio talking about what it can actually do. It's pretty windy right now, so that's why I'm kind of crouched down under this little under this little thing to kind of stop you guys from just the whole time. But we have just a little bit of an interesting kind of conundrum going on right now. And that is, it rained like crazy last night. So all the dirt roads turned into mud roads, and we're on little scooters. So yeah, we're kind of stuck at the moment. We had to walk the rest of the way. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But nonetheless, you've now seen what the R6 can do. And yeah, like I've said, it's a pretty damn capable camera. We have made it somewhat out of the mud, and you can see Lucas' tracks right there, and this is my bike. Hopefully it's easier than this.
Slowly. You got this, you got this. You got this. Easy, go, 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 go. Wait. Yeah.
So just a quick stop for breakfast for a little reward for, I guess, getting our bikes out of the mud. That was not easy nor fun, but I guess it made for a pretty interesting story. Anyway, we're gonna devour this and yeah, continue on with our day. Okay, so we're now back in the studio, and this morning was very interesting. Getting stuck in the mud was, while it wasn't very fun, it kind of made for an interesting little segment of content. So now you've seen exactly what the Canon R6 can do, and it is a very capable camera. And in my opinion, if you're shooting for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, some client work that isn't like crazy high-end stuff, you're taking photos and aren't cropping in like crazy, I think the R6 might be for you. It's a better choice over the R5, and like I've already said, you can take the money you otherwise would have spent and put it into lenses, and that is going to pay a much better dividend. I believe in the Canon R6 so much that I picked one up just under a month ago in 2021, and this will be my camera for 2022, 2023, and for the foreseeable future. I'm absolutely in love with the Canon R6, and I wouldn't change much about it. There are a few little things that irk me, like not being able to shoot in AV mode in video, which is really handy for these vlogs. I guess I just have to kind of rely on auto ISO, but nonetheless, these are very simple things that might be able to get fixed with a firmware update in the future. So I couldn't be happier with the Canon R6, and I'm pumped I picked it up. This whole video has been shot on the Canon R6, which I am stoked on, and I'm assuming the footage looks amazing. So I hope this video has been able to help you out in making your decision whether you should or shouldn't pick up the Canon R6 in 2022, or even the foreseeable future, in all honesty. If you're kind of tossing up the R6 and the R5, which is totally understandable, it's what I went through a month or so ago, let me leave you with this final note. The Canon R6 is so closely spec'd, except for photos and a few video features, to the Canon 1DX Mark III. It's not even funny. They have the same processor, they have a basically identical sensor, and a lot of the video features are exactly the same. No, the Canon R6 isn't as tough and well built as the 1DX3, and it doesn't have all the insane professional filing structure and all this crazy stuff that comes along with the 1DX Mark III. In saying that though, it's very, very closely spec'd out. So it's definitely a professional camera, and it's worth picking one up if you're in the market for one. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed or you're new around here, subscribe down below. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Hopefully it's been able to help you out. And guys, as always, I will catch you in the next one.